Hello and welcome to another video on Shopify Foundations Certification. And today's video, I'm going to look at the model Introduction to Cross-Border Selling. So this is a very interesting model. Is to understand more about the cross-border selling. What actually it is? Well, is commerce across border, commerce with no borders. And Shopify here, to legitimize its content, he used a market research or a market research conducted by Insider Intelligence, this subscription-based marketing research company, on the e-commerce landscape, the e-commerce sales expectations in 2024, which expect to be total of 6.9 trillion dollars, where 1.3 goes to the US and the other 3.4 goes to China. And this is something interesting to acknowledge because there is a huge market there. And so based on this research they conduct, we can see why a lot of this top company is actually trying to make its way in China. So, despite that, and also know what commerce is, which is this uh, commerce or e-commerce or cross-border selling specifically, which is commerce without borders. So there are some benefit as well as challenge to know. So by expanding you globally, it makes you competitive in the global landscape. Well, you now uh, increase your customer base, your brand awareness, and customer base. So increasing your customer base uh, based on the localization, meaning this tailored user experience for this kind of buyers, is something that will increase your customer retention over time, as well as your sales. And making this will allow your business to be sustainable and flexible, so you can now move your operations whatever you need to. Uh, and this is something powerful because this commerce without borders, okay, so people selling good and service or physical or digital products, events and subscriptions, classes and lessons. This, if you make this sustainable, all right, and the way to do that and the way to make that sustainable is by localizing and by creating a tailored experience, meaning that you are empathic with those buyers. This is what drives you the most conversion and customer retention over time, because you're not only providing value in those markets, but also you are generally empathic, or you are trying to connect with them uh, in their own terms and conditions. So this is the benefit of this cross-border selling. But there is some challenge because entering a new market is something that it comes with a lot of. Uh, so entering to a new market, you have to feel a lot of compliance. Tax, duty, and language are one of them. So because policy change, currency fluctuates, and also merchants and people in those new markets. So for example, if you migrate to a different country, you must be aware of that, about the potential fraud, that you must navigate to. And this makes entering to new market slow and expensive. So based on my own experience, when I migrated from Venezuela to Argentina, great thing, the great, the great thing was at least we're talking in the same language. So we have a common, allegedly, a common share base. So based on that, okay, I can also move on more uh, more easily in this. So the language barrier was not a thing, despite that here in Argentina they have a particular way to talk, but actually you can easy that. But the language itself was not a barrier, and that's something great. And the other was, well, what are the kind of fraud that I must navigate and to prevent? So I need to have the streets. I need to go to street to know more about this. You must have that. You must expose yourself to that, and perhaps document your process or write it down, whatever you want. But as after all, you must do that, and this there is a cost associated with that. There's a lot of people that they are not doing that. There's a lot of especially tourists or this digital nomad that comes here and they just wants to uh, again with the tourist mindset. They come here with a tourist mindset, which is fine, which is fine. But after all, uh, in this life, this life is about money and people. So if you're younger, you prefer is money than people. But as you get older, you prefer is people than money. So in any case, so acknowledging this, the benefit of this cross-border selling, because as you expand into new markets, it makes it makes more competitive in this international landscape, which allow you to grow your brand or which allow you to build brand awareness and increase. So, but it's two things. It allows you to exactly it's not increase sales at once. So by expanding to these new markets uh, as a merchant or as a person, it makes you more competitive and competent. Will allow you to build your will allow you to build will allow you to build brand awareness and trust across the border. And these two things are very, 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 very important because after all, we accelerate business when there is trust in that. So how do you build that trust is based on the thing that you have done, based on the value, uh, or also is that based on how you can benefit them. You know, most of the time it's not by being efficient; it's by tell them, hey, how can I get what do you bring to the table? The TLDR. So, so by expanding yourself to this new market, it makes you more competitive in this international landscape because now it allows you to build brand awareness and trust. Trust that will increase your sales and customer retentions by localizing or tailoring the buyer experience, which will increase the repeated business as well as customer retention over time. And this recurring client, okay, or having recurring clients like that, so this would makes you as a company or your business sustainable and flexible enough so if you need to move your operations, you can do that. So, for example, if the policy change or the currency fluctuates, you can now move your operations to other locations, to other friendly business locations, and that's one of the challenges, especially for the merchants or for any that has a business, which is part of the pain point. All right, which is part of the pain point here. Mhm. Which is part of the pain point here. Hmm. So we're getting here. First time this actually happened. This is the first time that this actually happened. Okay. So yeah, this is the so looking at the benefit and as well as the pain point. Okay, because every business experience obstacle or every exchange of value experience obstacle, especially when breaking into new markets. So it comes with some challenge and complexity. So like tax, duty, language, and currency. Okay, uh, and these are patterns that can be applied not only okay, and these are patterns that can be applied not only for specific um, industry, for example here like the e-commerce, but also for other markets. So tax regulations, language, and currency, very, very important. Tax regulations, language, and currency. So this is something interesting because in every market you're going to find this. So buyers and sellers here, they want you to talk into their own language and use their currency by following some guidelines, and you will be deducted based on your earnings. So this is part of the pain point when doing this commerce cross-border selling. Okay, so when doing this cross-border selling, all right, uh, yeah, yeah. So when doing this cross, so when doing this cross-border selling, recognize now the challenge of doing this because every business will experience challenge, and especially when they get into the new market. And if you see yourself as a business or someone that exchange value, especially when you're getting into a new market or to a new area of people, all right, you will experience challenge and resistance, especially from those people or from that market. So tax, regulations, language, and currency. So whether it's you're in the dating market, so what is the language in there? Well, that we want is to not only hook up, but perhaps creating is something long term. What is the currency that you're using? Okay. Uh, well, buyers and sellers, so women and men, have different currency in exchange here. Okay, so by in this case, women are once competent, intelligent, and assertive men, while men wants feminine beauty and inspirational woman. This is the currency. What is the regulation? Meaning, what is the norm? What is the convention that this actually uh, people uh, set. Okay, so what is the conditions of that? Oh, that you must fit, you must be also wealthy, and that kind of thing. And the other is, sorry, and the other is the taxation, meaning how much of your time or how much of these interactions is going to cost me. So, what is the cost associated with this? And this is all only, this is just to talk about in the dating market. If you took that into a professional, it the same. So, what is the currency here? Here is dollars, right, or euros, right? So this is the currency. So, what is the regulations? Okay, what is the compliance that I need to follow in order to provide is a service that you want me to provide as a seller or as a buyer? Okay, Uh, the language that we're gonna use in that particular market, the professional market, is the software or the marketing, the sales. You know, what is the language that we're gonna use to communicate? And also, it'll be English, French, Russian, Spanish, uh, as well as the taxation. Okay, how much is gonna cost me to provide service or receive those? So this four pillar, okay, that allow you to sit on top of that is something interesting to talk about, to recognize, especially if you are new into a new, if you are new in a market, okay, whether if you migrate to a different city, if you uh, to another country, if you are into a new landscape, to a new field, into a new profession, or into a new dating market as well. All right. So this is something here. So tax, how it's gonna cost me to do to to do what these market expect me. So taxation. What is the regulation? So what is the conventions of interacting here? Okay, as well as what is the language and currency you're willing to exchange here? Okay, very, very, very important, especially if you're new into a market. So this is the four pillar that you must comply. So managing complaints or managing compliance, so tax, regulations, language, and currency, okay, is something that you must manage. So policy can change, currency fluctuates. You must also be aware of fraud out there, and this is something that makes getting to this new market slow and uh, slow and expensive because there is no trust in there, which is the next step. Building trust in this, or building trust with a global audience is quite challenging. So, because buyers' expectations are different in every market. So, this is something roughly to talk about. So, buyers' expectations are different in any market. And this is something interesting also to talk about in, for example, with women or men. But it's that so women and buyers' expectations are different in any market. Why am I repeating this? Because this is part of the foundations, not only as the cross-border selling, but also if you're going to sell something. Okay, so for example, recently I look at a company that they're selling is or they're creating, right? So they are creating is so they are creating is so, or he wants to create is a he wants to create is an e-commerce for car parts. Okay, so remember that that particular market where buyers and sellers here, one is some accessories or car parts here. So recognize that there's some tax in there, in that industry or in that market, tax regulations. So what is the thing that they need to comply to get what they want? What are the conventions? Okay, especially in the car parts landscape, as well as uh, the language and the currency. So how do you talk to this kind of people, and what are they are willing to exchange or the currency? And there is not only money, which is part of that, but also is perhaps to provide the client's value in terms of what is the best hire that you can offer, which price, and that kind of thing. Uh, so this is something interesting and lovely to now be able to describe that. So yeah, this is part of the challenge, and especially if you're new into a marketing. And because myself, uh, I get into this new market, in this case Argentina. Okay, I get into this new market, man, these new markets, uh, and because because I have to comply with, or I have to manage compliance like tax regulations or conventions. Okay, as well as language and currency is the same thing, man. It's the same thing. Right now, I'm paying my taxes here. I also follow is the regulation, meaning is that why are like who? Why you acting like that? Do you know what I mean? Why you act like the way you do, and also which language and the currency you're willing to exchange. Okay, so knowing this, all right, from the broad perspective, and especially if you're getting into this new market, now when it comes to build trust, which is exactly what I'm doing here, when it comes to build trust, hey, I don't know you, but uh, you need to create this trust. So buyers' expectations are different in any market. Okay, so to facilitate this process, tailor a experience using their language and currency is a particularly it's not an easy thing, I must say. Okay, it's not an easy thing because buyers they want us to shop in their local currencies. So buyers they want to shop in their local currency. Okay, sorry. So buyers want to shop in their local currency uh, with the local language with their preferred payment of method. Okay, and that's what happened. And that's what happened. That's the currency here. That's the currency. That's the exchange here. And if you're not able to do that, you will. That will impact in the user conversion and repeated business. So once you're able to build this trust, okay, by identifying is the buyer's expectation in this market, very 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 important. Okay, by tailoring a experience where they can shop. Okay, by tailoring an experience where they can shop in their own currency, so where they can shop with, so where they can shop using their own language in their own currency with their preferred payment method. Okay, now here, ah, that allows you to uh, keep or maintain the conversion rates and repeated business. But if you don't do that, that will suffer. And the other is now the shipping. But this is not relevant to the e-commerce or to the commerce operation. Shipping or the delivery. Okay? So international or negotiating international shipping at affordable price or negotiating affordable international sales or international shipping rates is something hard without high volume and especially express shipping, okay, and especially affordable express shipping. And this is just to mention is the pain points that commerce can also are going to pass through. Managing compliance, build trust in global or with your global audience in international or expensive and complex shipping. So if you translate this into the yeah, if you translate this into the daily market, this expensive and complex shipping, okay, this expensive and complex shipping, if you're in the daily market, uh, especially making affordable express shipping or delivering uh, your delivering the value for them is something hard and expensive. You know, it's something hard and expensive. By the way, it's something hard and expensive. So this is talking about the pain point. See the look at the similarities that you have, especially not only in the commerce industry or the commerce market, but also in other markets, especially the dating or the professional, or even with your family. Okay, uh, that might be quite fucked up. You know, that might be quite fucked up. But for example, as a man in your family, so what are the tax? So what are the things that is gonna cost you to keep your family? What is the tax in that? The other is the regulations. What are the conventions? How you gonna act? How you gonna behave in this landscape with your family? Okay. And the other is the language you're gonna use and the currency you're gonna use, right? Especially as a father or as someone that has a family in there, right? What is the language you're going to use? Important. How are you going to express yourself? How are you going to conduct yourself? The regulations, okay? And also, what is the currency to exchange? Very, very. This is something interesting. This is very, very interesting. This is very, very interesting. So, in any market, in any new market, in any new markets, buyers experience, or in any new markets, businesses experience challenge. In any new market, in any new market, businesses experience obstacles. Obstacles. Taxes, regulations, language, and currency. Buyers' expectation. Mhm. So buyers' expectations are different in any market. So buyers' expectations are different in any market. Dating, professional. So dating, um, so dating, uh, career, buyers' expectations are different in any market. Dating, dating, business, relationships. So in any new market, business experience obstacles. Taxes, regulations, language, and currency. So buyers' expectations are different in any market. Dating, business, relationship. Tailor-made, tailor-made, or create, or in this case, cultivate your value and distribute will exactly cultivate your value and distribute. Yeah, so cultivate your value and distribute will create. Mhm. So cultivate your value and distribute. Yeah, so cultivate your value and distribute will will create trust and repeated business. This is when it comes to digital economy here, because it's this, man. Because it's genuinely this. And this is about market expect. Yeah, this is about uh, business in new markets. So if you see yourself as a business or someone that provides value to others, you'll encounter obstacles. So business in new markets like this. And again, you're not my audience. That's what happened. You're not my audience. My audience is something that is global. My audience here is someone that actually wants to do that work. Period. Period. Regardless their socioeconomical conditions, their unfair advantage. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. You just want to do. They just want to put the effort, do the work. Period. So daily post here. You got this. So business in new markets. So business in new markets. and repeat business. Yeah, my friend. It's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Because doing this solidify is my knowledge. So there is no need to actually going back and try to remember or memorize all of this. You know what I mean? I don't need to do that. I don't need to do that, my friend. I think a lot of people would would gravitate toward that. Like it or not, a lot of people are gravitating towards that, man. And a lot of people are gravitating towards that. Just like when we were a child. Yeah, you will see the crack. Es que, amigo, suena vacío, yo no voy a contestar. So is that. Y eso fue que yo con el tiempo me di cuenta que yo casi no tomaba agua. Y cuando no ocurría eso, entonces exacto, todo lo que tenía adentro, ¿no? Esa erupción y lava volcánica tenía que salir. Y salía de manera dolorosa, boludo. Un deslave, una avalancha de endocina. Bueno, la ventaja es una avalancha de endocina. Bueno, la ventaja es que uno pudiste vivir otro día para contarlo. Y no fue tan aparatoso. So, so based on all of the things that I have that I have posed, that I have published, and that I have learned from this introduction to the cross-border selling, and understand really the yeah, and to understand really the challenge involved uh, for that. So the challenge involved in there. So the thing here is that so looking at this cross-border selling, okay, especially to understand what is this, well, commerce without borders, and the benefit and the trade-off of this, in a way that you can see not only the relationship of uh, what you are learning, particularly in the e-commerce landscape, but also from this particular example, or from this specific to the general, okay, how you can now replicate that into your life. So if you see yourself as a business, okay, someone that provide value, someone that is providing something, you will notice that there are benefits of doing that, especially if you expand to global markets, which now it makes you competitive and competence in this international landscape, meaning that you can now understand other reality, that you have a moralistic perspective. You open up your perspective, which is a great and good thing. It's also painful because it's ego invested uh, that you have cultivated over the couple years and decades to create this self-strong image. That's one. And by opening yourself to these global markets, it makes you more competitive, competent, confident in these international landscapes while building brand awareness. Okay, so for yourself and for the others, will build brand awareness and trust. This trust will allow you to increase yourself in these new markets, uh, and by tailoring a experience to them, meaning that you talk in their own language, currency, taxes, regulations, you're now able to make you're not able to do so you're not able to make repeated business and uh, build a customer retention over years, because recurring clients here are essential and are the way how business are sustainable. So this will give you the flexibility. So by having this customer base where you're going to provide value by being competent and intelligent and assertive in those uh, markets, and you talk them into their own language, you understand their tax, their regulations, their currency. So by talking into that, into their own terms and conditions, ah, okay. So this will allow you to repeat business, create this customer retention over years for this uh, uh, recurring clients, which is the holy grail for any business, and allow you to business operations be flexible. So if you need to move that to other places, you can do that. And because of this, you may wonder, why do I need to move my business operation? Because there are some challenges and pain points that any business face. There are obstacles. So obstacles like tax, the regulations, language, and currency. So managing compliance is something challenging, especially if you're entering into a new market when people don't know you, and you must be aware of the fraud they can do to you and to your business. Another challenge is building trust with a global audience, because now you have to tailor your message or your content, or in this case, you need to tailor the experience as a merchant by using their own language, their own currency, their preferred payment methods. Because if you don't do that, it will affect and impact negatively your customer retentions over time in your repeated business. And the other challenge is more specific to the uh, more specific to the shipping, so international shipping. So uh, delivering shipping is complex, especially making or negotiating international shipping at affordable rates is difficult without high volumes, and especially international express shipping. So knowing this challenge, okay, uh, as well as the benefits. Despite this, a lot of businesses prefer to expand to this new market because They can now reach the most customer. They can sell over borders. They improve cash flow uh, as well as accelerate growth. So this is something very, very interesting, especially if you're running a business. So knowing this, now it is time to look at the how Shopify support cross-border selling, which is this. Okay. So how Shopify support cross-border selling? That's a question. Okay. So supporting e-commerce, supporting e-commerce on global scale. Let me check the hour here. Oh, I'm gonna do this. Okay, we're good. So supporting e-commerce on global scale. Merchants who sell cross-border have some important decisions to make around handling currency, offering different language, and providing a localized experience. Exactly. These three things that we are talking about earlier is like handling currency, offering different language, and providing a localized experience, meaning tailoring their experience for this market. And to strive to support selling international, a single store approach. Okay, okay, but this is the different approach to cross-border selling, or a single store approach, leveraging Shopify markets, multi-currency and multi-language function to streamline operations, or a multiple store approach, opening more than one Shopify account to offer international buying experience with deep customization and distinct operation. Hmm. When you talk about deep customization, uh, you have to be careful with this. You have to be careful with this and distinct operations. So single store approach and multiple store approach. Okay, interesting. Leveraging Shopify markets, opening more than one Shopify account to offer international buying experience with deep customization and distinct operations. So, because this is the way how Shopify support this cross-border selling, and it is important because you have to make decisions around handling multiple currency, offering language, and a tailored experience. So two strategies to support selling international, according to Shopify, or you have one single store approach that leveraging Shopify markets. So you have one single store approach where in this store you have multiple currencies, multi-language, function to streamline operation, which doing this is great for maintaining. Okay, the centralized model has been shown that it's great for maintenance, whereas this distributed approach, when you have multiple store approach or this federation, is great if you're going to hire another people, or you rely on other people to do this. So a multiple store approach, opening more than one Shopify account to offer international buying experience with deep customization and distinct operations. So Shopify Market is a suitable of cross-border selling tools that let merchants sell globally from a single admin. Interesting. Shopify Markets. Okay, it's a suite of cross-border selling tools that let merchants sell globally from a single admin. A cross-border management tool to reach global markets. Okay, Shopify Markets help merchants identify, set up, launch, and manage their international market from one place. Okay, exactly, because this is one approach. Okay, you have one store, a single store approach, but you have multiple currency, language, and function to streamline operations, or the other is the multiple store approach. So one of them is more centralized, and the other is distributed or federalization. I will argue depend on. So if you're an agency, this multiple store approach might go with you, especially if those people are actually someone that are quite reliable. Okay, but if you are actually managing, or if you are a solopreneur or a solo individual, so having this, okay, so having this single store approach is more beneficial because you have everything. So because you have everything in there in one place, you can uh, now replicate this behavior to others. So you can replicate this system to others until a point that, well, you need to delegate that to someone else. But this can be quite sustainable, you know, as long as your system adapt. That's all. That's all. So by having, for example, a couple clients, let's say high tier clients, uh, such as, I don't know, perhaps four clients or three clients, that each one of them are paying you something like 3,000. Okay, so now you can make quite a living with this. Okay, so you can make quite a living with this. So the other is Shopify Market. The Shopify Market is a suite of cross-border selling tools that let merchants sell globally from a single admin. Mhm. But it's a suite of cross-border selling, a cross-border management tool to reach global markets. Okay, it's a management tool, a cross-border management tool. So Shopify Market helps merchants identify, set up, launch, and manage their international market from one place. Can you be more specific with this? This might include tailored domains, language, currency, pricing, and taxes within the various regions they sell. Okay. Okay. So they can tailor that experience. So these Shopify markets can tailor their experience based on the geographical location, or based on international markets. So they can tailor domains, language, currency, pricing, and taxes within the various regions they sell to. This is something that helps vastly to Shopify and merchants, because now Shopify is building brand awareness on these new markets. For example, Mexico, Europe, Australia, Asia, okay, is doing this, which is awesome, all right? And in order to provide those international customers, and so is building brand awareness and trust along the way. So by tailoring this domain, language, currency, pricing, and taxes within the various regions they sell, in order to provide those international customers with a familiar and localized buyer experience. So it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. It also it's part of the benefit of opening yourself to new markets. Okay, why? Because, well, by providing this tailored buyer experience, uh, because buyers' expectations are different in any market. They want to shop using their own language, currency, and preferred payment methods. So Shopify Market provide you tools to manage this. So this includes tailoring domains, language, currency, pricing, and taxes to provide a familiarized, to provide a localized, so to provide a localized and familiar buying experience for those international customers. Market is idea for merchants who use Shopify payments, who use multiple local currency and language based on regions. Mhm. So, for example, which kind of business can be helpful here, or which kind of business can benefit from this? Uh, um, countries that produce basic needs, my yeah, countries that produce um, countries the countries that produce commodities and sell them to industrialized countries might be the way to do this. How do you create this buying experience? Market grouping. Okay. So first I look at this Shopify market. Okay, but it's recognizing supporting e-commerce on a global scale. Okay. So su, su, supporting e-commerce at a global scale. Okay. Supporting e-commerce at a global scale. So because merchants uh, because merchants that wants to do cross-border payments, okay, or merchants, exactly. So merchants who sell cross-border, okay. So merchants who sell cross-border, okay. So merchants who sell cross-border have some important decisions. This decisions to make. Decisions to make when it comes to uh, managing currencies. So when it comes to managing currency, providing provides. When it comes to managing currency, provides. hmm When it comes to managing currency, provide different language in a localized buyer experience. Because of this, so Shopify provides something called, or uh, because of this, okay, of this decision that they need to make, there are two approaches to try to support selling international. Okay, so because of this important decision, the decisions when selling international, we sell internationally, okay, we have two approach according to Shopify. According to Shopify, okay. So according to we have two approach, two we have two approaches. Core approaches, exactly plural, according to Shopify. Single store, okay? Single store, so single store or multiple store. So single store or multiple store. So useful for merchants or useful for partners, because this is so useful for partners that have a systematic way to create, manage, and scale stores. Okay. um, Useful for agencies that have a systematic way to create, manage, and scale store uh, beyond beyond one person capacity. Beyond one person capacity. So it's this. Beyond one person capacity and member trust. And members trust. And trusty and reliable members. That's what happened. And reliable members. Because otherwise, like, no, a lot of people is like, yeah, no, yes, of course, yeah, it might be, who knows, whatever. And then you got it. So this is for the partner or the agency. How useful it is for those to create this. Okay? But for merchants, for merchants, useful for partners to have a systematic way to create, managing a scale store. Useful for agency with a systematic, with a systematic, mhm, with a systematic way to create, managing scale store beyond one person's capacity and reliable members. hmm Very, 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 very interesting. Okay, interesting by the way. Very, 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 very interesting. Yep. Very, 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 very interesting by the way. hmm Very, very, it's very, very interesting. So for merchants, okay, leveraging Shopify markets. I don't know what it is. Merchants can leverage Shopify markets. Okay, multi-currency and multi-language function. multi currency and language. Multi currency and language. The merchant can leverage something called Shopify Market. Is a cross-selling tool for international markets. And the multiple store opening more than one Shopify accounts to offer international buyer experience with deep customization. Or the other is merchants can open exactly. So merchants can open uh, multiple store for deep customization. For deep customizations, uh, for deep customizations, when offering international, yeah, for this customization, when offering international buying experience. Multiple stores, exactly plural, like this. So okay, all right, okay. So things started to slowly fall into par. And so, what is this Shopify markets? What is all of this? It's the Shopify markets. Um, Let me check here. Uh, yeah, I think we're good. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, I think we're good. Okay. All right. Okay. Cool. We can continue. All right. So yeah, you got it. So all right. So this is Shopify support. So first, I'll look at the cross-border selling. What is cross-border selling? Commerce without borders, and understand the benefits by going global as merchants. It makes you more competitive, competent in the international landscape, which is a great and beautiful thing. Now, while it allows you to build the brand awareness and yeah, but brand awareness and trust, something important because that will allow you to increase sales and build a customer retention that will increase over time based on how tailored or how localized the buyer experience is for these new international markets. Because this is what makes your business sustainable, meaning that you have recurring clients. And it also provides you flexibility because now you can move your operations to any place or any location. And you may wonder why. Well, because especially if you are having a business, it is quite challenging and there will be obstacles that you have to navigate, like tax, regulations, language, and currency. So managing compliance is one of those challenges, especially that you have to deal. And if something goes wrong, so for example, if policy change or currency fluctuates, or you're suffering a lot of from fraud in those new markets, that is something that you have to reconsider to relocate your business to other more business friendly places. One, uh, and that's also why entering this new market is slow and expensive. And another reason or another challenge here is to build trust in international markets. So because no one knows you, and the best way you can do for your business is to tailor a experience, the buyer experience, because buyers in any new market has different expectations. They want to buy their local currency with the language and their preferred payment methods. So if you don't do that, your business will suffer from that. And the other challenge is the international and complex shipping, because negotiating affordable shipping rates or negotiating affordable international shipping rates is hard without large volume, and especially express shipping. So, despite this challenge, there's a question: how Shopify support cross-border selling? So recognize that business has to navigate, and especially merchants have to make important decisions when selling internationally, uh, in things like, well, they must provide different, so they must offer in different language, support multiple currencies, uh, uh, as well as tailor the customer experience. Uh, because all of this challenge, so there are two approach for this. So you have one single store, okay? So you leverage, so by leveraging the merchant, by leveraging the Shopify uh, international Shopify market, okay, with multi-currency and multi-language. And the other is having multiple store, a multiple store approach. So you create is a new Shopify account for that particular international audience, uh, where you can now customize that deeply. This is the multiple store approach. Can be useful for mature business. Okay, so for mature businesses, yes, it is something that that as long as you can afford it, is something that is will be more manageable. Okay, uh, so it's useful. So single store is useful. Is useful for partners with systematic way to create, manage, and scale store. Okay, and for pre-commerce sellers and established this merchants, this might be the way that they can go with. So for pre-commerce sellers, okay, so for pre-commerce sellers and established merchants, this might be a good option, since they can leverage Shopify markets, multi-currency, and language. Okay. However, multiple stores are useful for agency with a systematic way of creating, managing, and scale stores beyond one person's capacity. Okay, and with reliable members, which is here, and with reliable members. So for mature merchants, mhm, for mature merchants might prefer this approach, since you can open multiple stores for deep customization when offering international buying experience, aka, 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 uh, building customer retention, building building a large customer retention. Okay, so building a large, mhm. So building a large customer retention and building a large customer retention over time, which is this. So this particular two approach, and I love it, and I love it, and I love it. So okay, is this. So yeah, I love it. Hmm. So international, so international cross-border selling. So Shopify cross-border cross-border selling, which is this. International cross-border selling. So how Shopify support cross-border, which is something that I'm going to create several pages here. So for example, like this, let me paste this. No, it's actually all of this. Okay, things like how Shopify supports cross border selling. So what is cross what is cross border selling, and how Shopify support this? So we can increase here at 272. Okay, holy moly, I think that's way too big. What about 64? Number with all of this, 64. What's cross-border selling and how Shopify supports support that? Exactly, I prefer this. What's cross-border selling and how Shopify support it? Exactly. So what's cross-border selling and how Shopify support it? So we can create another here like this. All right. So after all, e-commerce, so cross-border selling is commerce without border. Merchants have several benefits and challenge to manage. Despite this, okay, so despite that, Shopify, the way, so Shopify, there are two approach according to Shopify for international or for cross selling, mhm, or for cross border selling, for cross border selling. One of them is single store. Exactly. Single store, like this. So there are two approaches according to Shopify from cross-border selling. So there are two approaches according to Shopify for cross-border selling. And here you have this. And here you have is the single store approach. The single store approach. Okay. The single store approach. And the other is the multi-store approach. Okay. And the other is the multiple store approach. And this is something important to remember and to recap. What's cross-border selling? So this is awesome. Who the F? Anyway, please do that again. There you got it. So that'll be all for this video. Take care. Bye bye.